Have you ever wondered if an A5 Wagyu steak is worth the cost compared to a Walmart choice steak? Well, that's what today's video is all about. Stick around as we fire it up. We do the same cooking method, and then we also do a blind taste test to see which one's better and really, is it worth the cost? Let's talk about the grading system of this A5 steak versus a choice steak. This is a 30,000 foot view. I'm not an expert, but just want to give you my perspective and a quick definition, but I'll put a few links in the description below. Let's start with the A5. This is a grading system that is based on Japanese Wagyu beef that's grading it based on its tenderness and marbling factor, 1 being really good marbling to 5 being the highest grade and the highest quality, and honestly more fat than it is meat, but it's going to be delicious, and I think when we slice into it, it's going to taste like butter. Now, that choice grade is going to be based on the USDA system of grading tenderness and also that marbling as well. I think it's still going to be a solid steak, especially if you know how to cook it right, and it's going to be a lot more affordable than this A5. But that's a quick overview. Now we're going to talk about how we're going to cook these bad boys, so let's jump into it. Setting up the Kamado Joe, Big Joe with the Soapstone. This is how we're going to cook and sear these steaks. We're going to set the grill up to 500 degrees. On a grill grate, I'm banking all the charcoal to the back for support, so one side for searing, putting a soapstone, which is going to be a fantastic way to sear steak, and both of these in comparison. And then we will simply just add salt on these steaks. That's all it needs, because we want to get the unique flavor of each steak for its final results. That is the current plan. We're using the grill blaze or grill torch to light up our charcoal today using lump charcoal. And once we hit that 500 degrees, then we'll just simply salt it and get to searing about 90 seconds per side. And once we get to that internal temperature that we're looking for, medium rare, pull it off, let it rest. We'll do our final taste test and blind taste results. Got these steaks out of their packages. We simply have salt brine these. That's all we want, because we want the natural flavor of these steaks to shine through as we do the cook. Soapstone is well over 500 degrees, and I'll show you that on the screen with a little heat thermometer that I've got. And now it's time to do some searing action. It's gonna be hot and sizzly. My plan is to go 90 seconds per side until the internal temperature I'm wanting. We'll start with the A5. All right, friends, it's been a little over 60 seconds, and because it's my first time to cook it, I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. But look at that sear. Exactly what we want. Juices, this is all fat just coming off that steak. Literally so amazing. All right, we're gonna go back to the flipping the other side a little longer. All right, friends, we pulled off the A5, we're gonna let it rest. We're gonna do the same thing, do the flip method until we get to the internal temperature we want. And this is gonna get into a nice butter bath from that A5, but that's just okay. All right, friends, we are done. We've let this rest for 5 minutes or so, and you can already see we got a good sear from the soapstone. We've got just this buttery juiciness on both steaks just sitting on top, all the flavor just coming out on top. I'm gonna cut right into, oh my gosh, butter. Like I'm barely doing any work, and I want to just show you. Can you see that? Oh my gosh, perfection. And we're going to do, actually I'm going to do one more over here. That one cut like butter as well. Same thing. Perfectly medium rare. We are outside, so the color is going to kind of show differently, but hopefully I can show you that on camera here in a little bit of what these look like. I'm going to do a few more slices and then bring you in and introduce you to my wife to do a blind taste test. Then I'll taste it and we'll do a final review. Well, I hope you enjoyed that slicing show. It literally sliced like butter on both of them. Great sear on both. Now it's time for the taste test, the blind taste test. This is my wife, Brooke, and I'm grateful that she's willing to do this. So right now we've got one steak in her hand. I'll put it on the screen which one it is. She's gonna rate this based on tenderness, a 1 to 5, and then also taste, 1 to 5. We're gonna start with this first bite. Yep, good job. and then I'll get you the second one. And when you're done and you're ready for your quick...
Sure. Taste is definitely a 5.
Okay, really? Okay. Perfect. So taste is a 5, so that means we did a good job as far as flavor.
Tenderness, though, is probably about a 3.
Okay, 3 on that steak on tenderness, a 5 on taste so far. Again, that's on the screen. Now this is the second steak. Again, we'll put this, obviously we know what this one is. Taste and tenderness. I mean, I already can see the head nod, but what do you think?
I mean, it's definitely a 5 on tenderness. Taste, that one's fattier.
This last one?
It's 5 on both.
Okay, can you obviously know which one's what?
I hope I do.
Yeah, what do you think? That blindfold can come off.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think the first one was the
regular
steak. And then the second one was the
A5 Wagyu. I didn't really tell her too much. She knew I bought a fancy steak, but didn't really know which ones were what. And appreciate being in here.
You're good.
Now it's my turn. Thanks, honey. All right, so now I'm gonna do it. I'm not doing a blind taste test, obviously, but you saw that from my wife. So I'm gonna start with the choice steak right here. Okay, I know exactly what Brooke's talking about when it comes to flavor and the taste. That's a delicious steak. Like, I would literally 5 days a week, 7 days a week, I would eat that steak all day long. That was fantastic. And I'm gonna put that, I'll give it a 4.5 to almost 5 on taste. And I'm gonna go with what Brooke did, a 3 on tenderness. But it was tender, it was medium rare, but it was good. Maybe even a 4, now I think about it. But probably solid 3. Now let's do the A5. Wow. Daddy needs a bigger bite. Look at the tenderness, the juiciness of that right there. Pull apartness, so easy. Wow. The flavor is out of this world. My first time to ever have A5. Wow. Okay. We'll come back and we'll talk about the differences, but man, that was an awesome taste test. All right, so we are done. Now off camera, my wife and I kept on eating both steaks, and literally the taste on both of these were out of this world. It just goes to show you, simple salt brine is all you really need in a good sear doing the flip method. If these were thicker steaks, especially if you're new to cooking steaks, I typically like to reverse sear. I even know some friends that like to sous vide. I sous vide occasionally, but I usually do the reverse sear method. But since these were thinner, the flip method directly on the soapstone, I think was the perfect strategy here, getting a perfectly cooked steak on the choice and also the A5. So is it worth it is probably what you're wondering. My friends, I think, again, I'm giving this the butter and the tenderness and juiciness is out of this world. It definitely outranked the choice steak when it came to tenderness and pull apart and even flavor. But one of the things my wife and I were talking about is obvious, and this might be obvious to you or maybe not, the A5 is all fat. So you're tasting more fat than you are meat. So if you're gonna go during the week, and obviously you're on a budget, and really just probably most people are going to choose the choice or even a prime ribeye or New York strip and still be saving tons of money and get just out of this world flavor and even tenderness. But I will say the A5, when it came to tenderness and flavor together, there's just nothing to compare. The A5 fattiness and intermuscular fat is just out of this world. So my personal opinion is, although it might be subjective to you, this is worth doing one time, anniversary, or just some special occasion, because again, most people are not gonna wanna drop $100 on one steak over you know, getting a $12 to $15 steak. And I spent $100 on this A5 at I think it's Wild Fork. And then I went to Walmart and got this, you know, 2 steaks for the cost of like $16. So that just goes to show you what you can achieve on an affordable steak versus an A5. But again, it is out of this world when it comes to tenderness and flavor, but it's just so much fat, but it's so good. And again, I hope the pictures and the video showcased what this comparison looked like, and maybe you had a little smell-o-vision and you got a chance to kind of get a sense if it's worth it for you or not. But that's my 2 cents today. And I want to encourage you, if you want to up your steak game and you want to find a way to impress your neighbors, I want you to check out this video on how to sear your steak, what's called the caveman style, directly on your charcoal, and it gives us out of the world sear and great flavor when you know how to do it. So definitely check out that video, and from my backyard to yours, less hate, more love, good barbecue.